Hello, guys. Welcome. I'll try that again. Hello, guys. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are new here, my name is Sophie Waddington, and on this channel, we talk about all things manifestation and mindset. So, if that is your vibe, come and click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss any videos. It is another beautiful sunny day, but I can't go outside because I forgot my fucking microphone, the microphone that is the bane of my life. However, we're going to record an episode because I feel like I've not been on here for a while, and that is because I've been busy writing a book, guys. I'm writing a book. It's going to be an ebook. Well, I don't know if it's going to be an ebook, but it's going to be fucking class. So look out for that. I will link it in all of my videos once it is out. But I've got a good video coming up for you today because I want to talk about a trap that we fall into so often that keeps us stuck when it comes to manifestation through shifting our identity from one to another. So, this is something that you will be very familiar with if you have ever attempted any kind of change in your behavior in particular. So, if you've tried to quit a habit, if you've tried to start a habit, if you've tried to stick to a New Year's resolution, you will have experienced this feeling of resistance. And I'm going to give you something today to stop you from feeling that resistance when you are attempting to change. Now, first of all, I will say that any kind of change has to start from a change of identity, because otherwise, if you do not change the identity that is driving that behavior, you are going to experience very short term changes, and then the thermometer that is your identity that keeps you at that certain level, whether it's to do with relationships, money, health, whatever it is, you are wired by your identity for a certain level. And if you try to change that through forcing the 3D without changing the identity that drives it, you'll very quickly be brought back to where you were because your subconscious is keeping you safe. However, even when you change through your identity first, there will be a period of time where your subconscious mind is accepting the new identity and shedding the old one, and it's still pretty hesitant to do that because it's trying to keep you safe. So I'm going to give you an example so that you can hopefully relate to this. Now, this is one that I have struggled with all my fucking life until quite recently, and still sometimes I do. But you could apply this to any area of your life. It doesn't have to be this. This is just an example that hopefully you will be able to relate to in some way. So let's say that you want to make some changes to your health. Maybe you want to lose weight like I did, or maybe you want to gain more muscle, or maybe you want to put weight on. So what happens is you install that new identity, first of all, of the person who doesn't have any issues with that, who already has what you desire. So the person who eats healthily, the person who takes care of the body, the person who respects the body, whatever that is for you. And usually what will happen is there will be a short period of time where things are going quite well. And you're thinking, this is in the bag. I've got this. This is easy now. You'll start to see some changes in your health. Maybe you're losing a few pounds. Maybe you're putting a few pounds on. Maybe you're seeing some sort of shape change in the gym. But then there will come a point where it feels super easy and you've been doing really well, where suddenly you almost like relapse into the old behavior. I want you to understand that when that happens, that does not mean that it's not working. That means that it is working. It's a final bit of resistance from your old identity to try and pull you back to a place of safety. And I'm going to talk specifically today about how it gets you to do that and how not to fall into this trap. So, for my example, I wired in a new identity, one who respects the body, one who takes care of herself, one who eats healthily. And because of that identity, I then came across a way of eating that worked for me. Okay, so this is how things unfold in the 3D. You install the identity first, and then the how becomes available to you. I started eating in that way, and it felt super easy. I was like, oh, this is easy. I'm pissing it. Got it in the bag. And then I suddenly started going back to binge eating chocolate and eating loads of sugar and just all of the shitty habits that had kept me stuck for years in the past. And this is what happens to a lot of people. Now, again, this doesn't have to relate to health. It could be to do with any sort of change of identity in your life, any change of behavior, any change of outcome. I'm just giving you this as an example. But that behavior became even stronger than it was before. It like reared its ugly head and came back up and sort of forced me into behaving in that way, into binge eating, into eating loads of sugar, into sabotaging the progress that I have made. And that is exactly what your subconscious mind will do with that old identity. It will sabotage you, and you need to be aware of that so that when that happens, you don't just go back, because that's the process. It wants you to do that. And I want you to understand as well that this is not coming from a place of trying to do something horrible to you. It's trying to keep you safe. It is trying to revert you back to the old behaviors that it knows as safe, even though you consciously know that those behaviors, whatever they are, whether it's smoking, whether it's overspending, whether it's binge eating, whatever it is, they are not serving you. And you understand that consciously. But your subconscious mind doesn't, because so far you've been doing that all your life and you're still alive. So it registers that behavior as safety. It registers any kind of change as a threat to your survival. So its intentions are very good. Its intentions are well meaning. It's trying to keep you safe. It's trying to pull you back into that old identity, because it's starting to realize that, hang on a minute, we're behaving in a way that does not align with what I know to be safe. So we need to make sure that she comes back now, because she's going too far out of the boundaries of safety. So what feels like amazing progress to you, to your old identity, feels like a massive, massive threat. And it is pressing the big red button and pulling out all of the stops to get you back to that safety zone. And maybe you can relate to this. Maybe you can think of a time where you've made a lot of progress with something and you felt really good, and you felt that your identity is shifting and you're coming from a place of becoming a new person and taking actions that align with that new person. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, when you were doing really well, you've been snatched back into the old identity, into those old behaviors. You've probably got loads of examples of that in your life to do with any area, because this is a really clever pattern that your mind has to keep you alive. And there's a specific part of this that I want to talk to you about today that allows it to do that job, that allows it to pull you back into the old identity. And that is when you start to negotiate with it. As soon as you allow that old identity back in the door, and I don't mean through the behaviors, I mean through the conversations that are going on in the mind, you are vulnerable to allowing it to pull you back into that old identity, into that old life, into those old behaviors. So, going back to the example that I shared before, this might sound like this. You are doing really well. You've not binge ate for ages. You've not had any sugar. You're feeling good. Everything's going well. And then one day you think, I'm going to eat a Kit Kat. I'm going to eat a Kit Kat. The Kit Kat is not the problem. The inner conversation that follows the Kit Kat is the problem, because that old identity has spotted a moment of weakness. Now, it's not really a moment of weakness. There's nothing wrong with having a Kit Kat, guys. Okay. It's allowing that voice that comes in then from the old identity to start having a conversation with the new identity. So you have the Kit Kat, and then you get that sort of inner conversation that sounds like your voice saying, well, you might as well have another. You might as well have what you want for your tea tonight, because then we'll just get back on it tomorrow. Does this sound familiar? And it could be the same for smoking. It could be the same for drinking. It could be the same for spending. Anything, doesn't matter what it is, an old behavior. So you start thinking, oh, I don't know whether I should do that. And he says, yeah, you can just do that. Like, we can eat what we want tonight. We've been really good. Like, you can have whatever you want. Why not? Just enjoy yourself tonight. Get back on it tomorrow. Can you see where this is going? So you start thinking, right, okay, well, we'll have something tonight, but then tomorrow we're back on it. We're being good again tomorrow. We're going to eat healthy again. And it's all in for that. It's like, yeah, of course you can. Yeah, absolutely. Tomorrow we're going to eat better than we've ever ate before. But tonight you should have a chocolate fudge cake as a final farewell. And then in the morning, because it's got its foot in the door, it'll start convincing you and driving those cravings, driving those urges to do that behavior again. And then you'll start fighting back against that. You'll say, no, no, we need to be good now. And it'll say, well, I don't know, like, because you're sounding like you want to eat that Mackey's breakfast to me. Like, just have it. Like, why not? Just have it. Next week, we are going to be so good. We are going to behave perfectly. We're not going to have one single Kit Kat. We are going to be so good next week if you have this Mackey's breakfast today. And we go through this back and forth conversation in our mind. Again, whether it's to do with food, smoking, gambling, whatever it is, whatever shitty behavior you have had as a crutch for most of your life, it will target you and it will try and get into a negotiation with you. And again, remember that this is well intentioned. It's trying to keep you safe, it's trying to pull you back into what it believes is a safety zone. But we don't negotiate with terrorists, okay? And if you do, you will find that that terrorist that is your old identity, it's not really a terrorist because obviously its intentions are good, but that old identity will behave and speak to you in a very manipulative way. It will convince you that it's all right to do that. It will lure you back in. It will make false promises to you under the provision that you do what it wants you to do in the moment. You have got to recognize that as soon as you enter into that inner conversation and you start negotiating with that old identity, instead of just deciding from the new identity, it will try and pull you back. Okay. And if it does pull you back, that's okay. It's all right to go back temporarily. That does not mean that all your progress is ruined, not in the slightest. What you have to do is get out of the habit of starting again, because the idea of starting again is how it will convince you to go back and back and back and back and back until before you know it, you're so far back into that life that you feel like it's all lost. It's not. Recognize it for what it is in the moment. Nope, I'm not negotiating with terrorists. Thank you very much. This is what we're doing. We're moving forward. Maybe I had the Kit Kat. That doesn't matter. We're still moving forward because it doesn't get a say. When you stand in absolute conviction of the new identity, the old identity doesn't stand a chance. You are starving it of your energy. You are starving it of an opinion. You are starving it of an ability to have any influence over your decision. You are simply rejecting the conversation with it. No, I'm not speaking to you. You don't have to explain to it. You don't have to rationalize with it. You don't have to do any of that. Please don't, because when you do, it's got its foot in the door and it will manipulate you back into the old identity. So I just wanted to share that today and I hope it's useful because that's actually happened to me recently. And I have to remind myself of what is going on. But know that when you experience that resistance, that is a sign that you are on the very cusp of the change in identity. It's its last hurrah. It's driving all of its energy. It's pressing all of the alarm bells because it can see how much progress you have made and how close you are into flipping into that new identity. And it's afraid, it's scared. But you don't need to be scared because you know that that's actually a really positive change in your life. So please don't let that voice override what you know you desire and the decision that you have made for yourself. If you found any value in that video, I would be truly grateful if you could subscribe to this channel. I'm trying to post really frequently at the minute in between writing my new book. How exciting. And I will speak to you all soon. Love you. Bye.